Welcome back to When Harry Met Board Games, where we feed our people with relatable content, and our victory condition is your satisfaction. I'm Harry. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and click on that bell notification. That way when we're doing our thing, YouTube lets you know. Today we're doing another playthrough, and I'll be playing through this game right here, Shadowrift. This is a fantasy-themed village defense deck building game, and this is what the game looks like set up. First of all, the game comes with about 6 different preset scenarios that the game creates for you. And afterwards, after you feel like you've exhausted those scenarios, you can mix and match cards, use the card randomization in order to create your own unique different games. So for this game in particular, we're going to have a monster deck, and this is going to be the Dragon faction. And the way you prepare the monster deck is you grab these Shadowrift cards, which are part of the end game trigger or winning condition of this game. You grab Shadowrift cards equal to the amount of players in the game. In this case, I'm playing a solo game, so because I'm playing solo, the rules tell you to grab 2 of those Shadowrift cards. You divide the deck into 2 equally sized halves, and you randomly shuffle those Shadowrift cards. You split them in half and shuffle them into those 2 halves, and then combine them to form one deck. And then you flip the top card face up. Right here you have Curious Drake as the top card on this deck that is revealed. You have these monster attack area, which shows all the different spaces through which monsters will be traveling through and eventually basically leaving town and adding to the power of the bad guys. Here you have your walls, you have your corpse deck, you have your burns, which are an affliction. This is a particular monster special, which is unique to the dragons. Some of the factions have monster special cards that are unique to them. Here you have your villager deck, and your villagers are potential town members that will come and join your town later on, which will be very, very helpful, and soon you'll see why. Here you have your hero area, which basically has 8 different types of cards with skills and loot and attacks that help strengthen your deck in order to defeat the bad guys as the game progresses. Over here you have heroism cards, which you will acquire. I'll tell you when shortly. You have might cards and strike cards, and these are always available for you to purchase. Here you have your seal cards, which will be very helpful for many things, including the sealing of the shadow rifts themselves, because that's one of the ways you can win the game. If you seal all the shadow rifts in the game, which in this case of a solo game is 2, you win the game. You also have a bunch of wounds here, and trust me, we will be acquiring lots of wounds as the game progresses. Finally, over here, you have your town deck, and this is the startup with 10 town members that you'll be using from turn to turn to fill up and populate these 5 spaces in your town square, because one of the ways you lose the game is if at any point at the end of the monster's attack phase in the round, you look at your town square and all 5 spaces are filled with non-villagers or walls, because you'll be adding walls to strengthen your town deck. If all 5 spaces are filled with non-villagers or walls or non-walls, then you lose the game. For example, corpses. As your villagers die, you will be replacing them with corpses. If a bunch of corpses fill this row, you've lost. As a matter of fact, there's some bad guys here, some infiltrator villagers, which you don't want in your deck. And if they combine with the corpses, fill your town square, that's also no good for you, and you will lose this game. Finally, you have your starting deck, which as a typical deck builder, it's a weak starting deck. You have 7 of these prowess cards, and you have this explore card, and you have these 2 strike cards to begin the game. And that's pretty much it as far as setup. So let's start this game and show you how it actually plays. Alrighties. So first thing you do is you draw your hand of 5 cards. So that's 5 cards. Then you fill up your town square. So, and if you ever have cards in your town square, then you eliminate them, you discard them, and refresh. Here you go. And this is very helpful because these villagers, not only are they important to, again, you maintaining an edge, you want to keep them alive, but they're also helpful for you because they give you a special ability if you use them. For example, the merchant here will allow me to gain a coin, and the coin is the only resource in this game that's not a card, and it's very helpful because you always have it at your disposition until you use it, unlike cards where you have to depend on the luck of the draw. So that's really cool. Okay, so we've got that. After that, we flip over the top 2 cards of the Traveler deck. Right here, right here. None of these are infiltrators. If they were infiltrators, the card would have a red border instead of white. And it's interesting because on the bottom, you have a price for these cards. So for example, the Bard here gives you, if you pay 3 coins and 4 of this resource here, I forget off the top of my head what that resource, prowess, that means prowess, like I read earlier, the prowess cards. So if you use 3 coins and 4 prowess, then you can add her to your discard pile, and eventually she'll be part of your town deck, which is very helpful because you want to add those cards because, again, thinning out this town deck is one of the ways you lose the game. So there's that. Okay, so we've done that. Now we move on to the monster attack phase. And the way it happens is if any of the monsters are in the monster 1, 2, or 3 spot, they have different attacks designated for those spots. In this case, no monsters even in the monster start spot, so we do not have to worry about that. But what we will do is we will do the monster increase power phase, which the way it works is we have this monster power area, which as the game progresses will be filled by lots of these monster cards who have gotten away because we were unable to defeat them. And each of these cards have these symbols here, right? These faction symbols that whenever they make it to the monster power area will be a resource or a currency for the evil guys to use in order to summon more bad guys. In this case, this would be 2 of these symbols. However, there's nobody in the monster power area, but they always do have a baseline of power equal to the amount of players playing the game. Now, in a solo game, the rules recommend that you give their baseline be 3. I find that to be way too difficult for me, so I always play with the baseline of 2. So because of that, we're going to increase them here on the monster power points area. We're going to increase them by 2. Then after you've done the power increase phase, you can summon some monsters. You could add some monsters if there's enough power to do so. In this case, you would need 5 power to summon Curious Drake, which right now the monster power track is only at 2, so that will not happen. So after we've done all of that, now is when the players begin their turn. And this is a cooperative game normally, so players all do their turn back to back after another before we move on to the next round. In the case of a solo player game, you're going to get 2 turns. So I do have this die here just to remind me that I've completed my 2 turns, because if not, I tend to forget. All right, so let's start with my first turn here. So I've got 3 of these prowess cards here, which I will use shortly. I also have this Explorer card, which is very, very helpful. First of all, it allows me to look at the top card of the Traveler deck, and if I want to, I could put it at the bottom. And that's great because, as I mentioned earlier, there's some infiltrators in this deck, cards that have red borders and who are bad for your town. And the difference between those infiltrators and these good, honest citizens here is that unlike these guys here, in which I have to pay to add them to my town deck, the infiltrators automatically enter your deck upon being revealed, so you want to keep them at bay. So I'm going to look at the top card here, and it's the Innkeeper. I have no problem with the Innkeeper, so I'm going to put it right back in on top. Okay, and also this card, if I had a coin, I could spend that coin to put the top card of the monster deck on the bottom. And that's really good because it helps you manipulate the deck to some extent. If you're not happy with the card that's on top, if you feel threatened by it in whatever way or what have you, you could put it at the bottom. Also, it's a way of going through the deck as quickly as possible in order to reveal those Shadowrift cards, because again, one of the endgame conditions or triggers is if players are able to seal all of the Shadowrift cards. Okay, so there's that. And then finally I have 1 strike, which gives me 1 melee damage, but I have no monsters in the monster attack area to attack, so I'm done with that. Now let me look at the villagers here and see if there's anything that they do that is interesting to me. And as I mentioned earlier, the merchant, I can gain 1 coin by discarding him. And basically that's how it works. These are all free abilities, all you have to do is put the card in the discard pile to show that you've used it, right? Because you can only use it once. All right, so we're done, and we're going to move on to my second turn. I'm just going to flip this here to indicate that. And basically, you draw your 5 cards again. You clear the town square and refresh it with new villagers. You got the smith, the mayor, 2 guards, and a farmer. And then you take these 2 cards here, these top 2 cards revealed from the traveler deck. You put them on the bottom, and you reveal 2 more. Okay, and none of these are infiltrators. That's great. You do not do the monster attack or monster power phases all over again. Those only get done once per round. Okay, so now let's see what I've got in this hand. I've got 4 prowess. Oh, wait, sorry, guys. I never actually used my 3 prowess from last turn. Let me get this might card over here. And this might card is interesting because whenever I draw it, I immediately draw a new card. But also, when I spend it, instead of adding it to my discard pile, I return it back to its stack. So that's something to keep in mind. Okay, so now for this turn, I have 4 prowess and 1 strike, which again is irrelevant to me at the moment. And with these 4 prowess, what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy a second coin here. And I'm going to buy this additional might card. All right. And now we are done with my first round. And we will move on to the next round. So again, we will shuffle this deck because I've ran through my cards. And we will draw 5 cards. Oh, by the way, I did have this farmer, which she would have allowed me to use an additional prowess. So I could have technically gotten something worth 3. But you know what? I don't think I wanted something right now worth 3 anyways. All right, so I am going to draw 5 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see if any of these allow me to draw more cards. Yes, they do. I got this might card, which as soon as I draw it, allows me to draw another card. Okay, so there's that. Now we will clear the town square again. We will shuffle this deck here. Okay, we will add 5 cards to the town square. We will discard these 2 and add 2 more over here. Okay, and now we will do the monster attack phase. Again, there are no monsters to attack. We will do the power increase phase. There's no monsters in the power area, but again, they get an automatic baseline of 2 increase. So we'll put them all the way up to 4. Then we see if anybody could be added. And again, Curious Drake has a cost of 5. So 4 will not be enough. Okay, so we're done with that. And we're going to do my first turn here. And I have 2 strike, which again is currently irrelevant. But I do have 4 of these. So I could use 3 of these, let's say, if I wanted to keep this might. Because again, once I spend this might, I add it back to the discard pile, to the stack, I should say. Or I could use this might if I'm interested in a card that costs 4. You know what? This Spear Volley is cool because it gives me ranged attack. And as you'll see, ranged attack is very valuable because melee attack actually makes you incur damage as a player. Wounds, you add wounds to your hand. However, it has this symbol right here. And this symbol here means that you could only play 1 card per turn that actually has that symbol. Now, there are ways around it. Cards that allow you to bend and break the rules. But, yeah. So I think actually, I am going to get another coin. And I'm going to use this might here and get a second coin. Okay, I get 2 coins. Actually, wait, no, I don't have to use that might. I do not have to use this might, folks, because I could use this farmer here, which gives me 1 more prowess. So I would have a total of 4 anyways. Okay, so I would have 4 and I would be able to get that additional coin anyways. Okay, so I bought 2 coins and I get to keep my might card. All right, so we're done with my first turn here. Now we'll move on to my second. Let me draw 5 more cards. And I've got this might, which again allows me to immediately draw another card. All right, we'll refresh the town square here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And we will put these on the bottom. Add 2 more. Okay, so we got our first, oh no, our first 2 infiltrators, the Backstabber and the Heretic. and they will both go into the discard pile, the town discard pile. The good thing about these infiltrators is that there are ways to pay and make them go back into the traveler deck, but again, it's tough. Okay, so now let's see what we're going to do. So I'm going to play this merchant again and gain a coin. So now I have 5 coins. I've got some options. I'm going to play this Explorer card again. It would have been great to have it right now. It's the Pilgrim. I'm good with that. Okay, so walls. Oh, right here. I could use this stonemason. And when buying a wall, I could reduce its cost by 2. So I do have a lot of prowess. So with the walls, there's 8 walls to buy. And one of the ways, other than sealing the 2 Shadowrifts, the other way of winning this game is if you're ever able to build all 8 walls. That's very, very tough. But the cool thing about the walls is, again, you add them to your town deck, and they strengthen your chances of survival, but they also protect your villagers in different ways. Now, with the buying of walls, you can go through the stack and buy them in whatever order you want. You don't necessarily have to buy them from top to bottom. So I'm going to look at these and see which ones I could afford. Well, I'm already looking at this stone wall, and I'm liking this. So this costs 5 coins, and it costs 4 prowess. So I do have 4 prowess right here. I'm not going to use this might card. And because I'm playing this stonemason, I get to buy it for 2 less coins. So instead of 5 coins, I'm going to buy it for 3 coins. So here's 3 coins. I put them back in the stack here. And I'm going to use my 4 prowess. And then I'm buying this stone wall. And I just place it here in the town discard pile. And that's very helpful because, again, 2 infiltrators just joined town. So I really need to strengthen that deck. Okay, and that was my second turn. So we're done with that. We move on to the next round here. I will shuffle my deck here. And let's draw. Let's draw 5 cards. Okay, here we go. And I did draw a might, so it allows me to draw another card. And we will clear the town square here. Oh, I put the walls here. That's not where they belong. Let's shuffle these and add 5 more cards to the town square. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And the backstabbers here. And then we'll add 2 cards here. The Pilgrim and the Explorer. We will do the monster attack phase. There's no monsters to attack. We will increase power again. We're going to increase them by 2. So for 4, they go to 6. And now we could add monsters. And they could finally afford it because Curious Drake costs 5. So we will lower this all the way to 1. And we will put Curious Drake in the monster start area. Then we flip the top card face up. And we see if the bad guys can afford to add this card. And they can, because this is a free card. And it's just a regular power card. It's not a monster card. So it immediately will go to the monster power area, adding to the additional pool of currency, so to speak, the faction cards that will add to their power increase from round to round. Now this card here, Rain of Fire, says whenever a hero plays a seal, right here, or buys a villager or builds a wall, that hero gains a burn. And burns are terrible cards because not only do they make you gain wounds, but they make you gain wounds until every time you draw them, until you finally find a way to spend money to get rid of them. So that's very detrimental. Okay, so this card is here, and for as long as this card is here, I will have to suffer its effects. Okay, so we're done with that. Oh wait, let's flip the top card. It's an 8, so it'll be a while before they can afford this 8 right here. So now let's do my turn. So the first thing I want to do is I want to read this backstabber here. It says when the town is revealed, if there's a guard in play, put backstabber on the bottom of the traveler's deck. And guess what? There's 3 guards in play. Otherwise, he would have made me gain a wound or make me add a corpse to the town discard pile. So this is awesome. Because it coincided that backstabber's here with guards, he goes to the bottom of the traveler deck, and I've gotten rid of him. Okay, so now let's see what I will do. I've got 1 strike, which will give me 1 melee damage. I could pay 2 prowess to make it a ranged attack and not suffer the wounds. So let's see what I want to buy first. I'm going to use this farmer here to give me 1 more prowess. So technically I have 5 to 6 prowess, depending on whether or not I want to use this might card. Let's see. You know, I think I'm going to use 3. I'm going to use 3 of these prowess to get a, 2, I should say, I'm sorry. 2 to get another coin. So I just bought a coin. Coins cost 2. Now I have 3 coins. I'm actually going to spend those 3 coins to get this Shining Blade. This Shining Blade is a very helpful card. First of all, it's a loot card. And the value of loot cards is that they remain available on your tableau until you do something to discard them for some benefit. Unlike all your other cards that as soon as you spend them, go to your discard pile, this will actually linger. And also this card here allows me to play an extra card with that type of symbol. So as I mentioned earlier with the Spear Volley, all of these cards that have this symbol, you can only choose 1 per round to play. So with the Shining Blade, I can play an extra one. That's 2 if I wanted to. And I could also discard this card from play. Instead of keeping it on my tableau, I could discard it when I'm attacking to deal an additional 2 damage. So Shining Blade is a very helpful card. So I paid those 3 coins for that. Okay. And I still have, theoretically, 3 might available to me if that is what I so choose. And I think I'm going to save this right here. I'm going to use these 2 prowess to turn this strike into a ranged attack. That way I will not incur wounds. So I will deal 1 damage to Curious Drake, which by the way, right here you see their health. Curious Drake has a life of 7. So I have to deal 7 damage to him in order to eliminate him. So there's that. And we are done with my first turn this round. Now we will move on to my second turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And I've got this Might card, which will allow me to draw another card. Alrighties. We will clear the town square. Add 5 new cards. We've got the Heretic here available. We'll clear these 2 cards here. Flip over the top 2. Oh, and it's the Robber. And again, with Infiltrators, they immediately are added to your town discard pile. So let's see what the Heretic does here. It says, the first hero to play a spell this round gains a wound. So that's terrible. It's going to discourage you from using spells. However, it says a hero may pay 2 magic, which is one of the currencies, to put Heretic on the bottom of the Traveler's deck. Okay, so let's see. First of all, I got this Explore card, which as I mentioned, allows me to look through this. It's the Sage. I'm okay. And let's see what else we're going to do here. So again, I got Strike, which again, I could pay 2 prowess in order to deal damage ranged. And I think I might just do that. But I do want to add to my cards here, right? So you know what? Actually, I think I won't do that. But I will pay 3 to buy this Holy Aura here. And this Holy Aura is very helpful for many reasons. First of all, it's a spell, right? And spells are important cards in some situations to use. It gives me a magic currency. So instead of using it for a spell and its power, I could actually use it for its currency. That's a possibility. Also, it's a skill, which means a skill is kind of between a loot card and a regular card in that you don't necessarily have to discard it, but you don't automatically keep it from round to round. You could keep it if you pay 1 prowess from turn to turn. Also, the ability of this particular card, the Holy Aura, once per round, I could prevent a hero from gaining a wound. And if I do, I draw a card instead. So that's amazing because, again, in this game, you will be accruing lots of wounds. So I got that for 3. I didn't need to use my Might. Let me put the Heretic back here. And I'm going to use my Strike, but it's going to be melee. And again, when you choose to attack, you combine all your attack symbols as one collective pool of attack. So it's really only 1 battle. And you're going to, if any of those cards were melee, you're going to incur 1 damage per battle. Not per card, per battle. So this is 1 battle here. I'm going to deal 1 damage to Curious Drake. However, I am going to incur a wound. And some of these dragon cards make you grab burns instead of wounds, but this is not the case with Curious Drake. So I will grab a wound here, and I'll add it to my discard pile. And there are ways of getting wounds out of your discard pile if you so choose. Okay, and we are done with this turn, and we will proceed to the next round. Okay, so let's shuffle this deck here. Alrighties. And let's draw 5 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And all right, none of these make me draw cards. Let's clear this up right here. Clear this up. And let's replace it with 5 more. 1, 2, 3. We're going to have to shuffle here. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. Okay, add 2 more. The robber's in here. We'll put this on the bottom. We'll reveal 2 cards here. And it's the Vagrant. And the Vagrant, again, is an infiltrator, so he will be added to the town discard pile. Okay, now we will proceed to the monster attack phase. And what happens is all the monsters from right to left advance 1 spot, right? So they advance to the right. So Curious Drake advanced here. Now he will attack. And he will attack based on what area in the track he is. He's in Monster 1. And based on this card, it tells us here that his attack for Monster Area 1 is each hero discards a loot from play or gains a burn. Well, guess what? I, as of yet, do not have a loot in play, so I will have to gain a burn, which really, really sucks. There are no other monsters to attack, so we'll move on to the power phase. They will increase a minimum of 2, which brings them up to 3, plus you add any of these faction symbols from cards that are in the monster power area, which is just 1 more symbol, so he'll increase to 4. Then we could add monsters if they could afford any, but they cannot because Ash Eater is next and he costs 8. Okay, so we're done with that. Now we'll proceed to my first turn here. And I'm gonna, first of all, I'm gonna grab this merchant here and grab a coin. And the smith is here, which he allows me to pay 1 coin when attacking if I want to deal 1 additional damage. So that's very helpful. So I'm gonna play my Shining Blade card down. I'm gonna put my Holy Aura card down. So these could theoretically stay in play. I got the Explorer card. Let me look at the top card here. It's the Bard. I'm fine with that. I've got 1 Prowess. Much good that will do me. And I have this Strike here. So I'm going to use my 1 coin to tap into this Smith here to deal 1 additional damage with my Strike, which is melee. I'm going to deal 2 damage instead of 1 because I used the Smith. And I got my Holy Aura here, which tells me that instead of gaining a wound, I could draw a card. And it's awesome. I drew a Might, which adds to my Prowess, which I needed. Also, as soon as I draw a Might, that grants me the right to draw another card. So, here we go. I will draw another Prowess. So now, I've got 3 Prowess right here. What do I want to do with those 3 Prowess? Let's see here. I could get this Frenzy card, which tells me once per round I could discard a wound when attacking in melee. And if I do, I gain no wound for that battle and I deal 1 damage. That's interesting. But I might want to just add a Strike to my hand so that I could have additional ways of fighting, right? I do not have too much attack cards in my deck. So we're done with that. And because I didn't have a Prowess left to pay over, I could have used the Prowess in order to pay to keep this on my tableau. Because I actually used it, I will have to discard this. By the way, I also used this Might card, so let me add it back to the stack. So we are done with the turn, but the Shining Blade card here, it actually stays here permanently until I actually discard it for 2 additional attack. Okay, so now we'll move on to turn number 2. For me, I draw 5 cards. I will discard these and refresh the town square. I will put these on the bottom. Okay, and now let's see what I'll do. So I did draw my wound card here, and I have 4 Prowess. What do I want to do with that 4 Prowess? I think at this point I am going to get the Spear Volley because it's a very expensive card. You're not always going to have 4 Prowess in your card, in your hand. So I'm going to get this. And that's pretty much all I could do with this turn. All right, so now let's move on to the next turn. Let's put this back at 1 here. Let's draw 3 cards, and then I don't have any left. Let me shuffle here and add a few more. Okay, 3, 4, 5. I do have this Might card, which allows me to draw another card, but I also have this Burn card. And it tells me when you draw this card, you gain a wound. So this makes me gain a wound. I add it to my discard pile. And I have to keep this unless I pay 1 coin to heal this card from your hand. Okay, so we're done with that. Let's clear the town. Okay. We had the heretic here last time, but that was irrelevant because I didn't play a spell. Okay, so let's clear the town. Let's add 5 more cards here to the town. Okay. Add 5 more cards, 4 and 5. Okay, that's great. Take these 2 here. Okay, let's move on to the monster attack phase. We'll move this guy along the track, and we'll see what his number 2 attack is. And it says, the hero with the heroism token, which is basically the turn order token. There's only 1 player, so basically you always, the solo player, has the heroism token. Gains a burn, and you kill a noble or someone that has a crown symbol on them. So this is terrible because first of all, I'm going to gain another burn. And now I have to kill one of these guys. And there's 2 guys here that have that symbol. Now, usually if you have a guard in play when someone's being attacked, you could sacrifice that guard. That's the power that the guard has. And he will die instead of the other characters. There is no guard in play, but we do have the stone wall. And it says if a monster attempts a kill, discard the top card of the town deck. If it is a wall or if it's a guard, you prevent the kill. So let's see what the top card here is. It's the heretic, so I will not prevent the kill. So now the way it works is whenever you have a choice of 2 or more characters with the same symbol, the monsters are always going to kill the card that's leftmost. So unfortunately for me, the merchant is going to die because the merchant is very, very helpful for gaining coins. So now we replace him with a corpse. I'm sorry, he doesn't go to the discard pile. He goes to the bottom of the traveler deck. So when they do die, you can, in theory, purchase them back and add them to your discard pile, to your town discard pile. But the problem is that corpses are being added along the way. Okay, so we are done with that. Now we will look at the monster power phase. And again, they're going to increase 2, which puts them at 6. Plus an additional 1 for this symbol, which puts them at 7. And they still cannot afford Ash Eater here because he costs 8. Okay, so let's do my first turn here. Let me look at this. I have one of these available. So, first of all, I do have some damage I could deal, which is very helpful. And I think I am going to do that. So I've got 1, 2, 3 damage, at least 1 or more are melee, so I'm still gonna suffer wounds because of that. So I've got 3 damage that I'm gonna deal to Curious Drake, which he's at 4. So the 3 damage, first of all, is gonna be enough to kill him. So I kill Curious Drake. Now what happens when you kill a monster? First of all, you count the faction symbols, and you're gonna draw heroism cards equal to that amount. And that is very helpful because heroism cards are like a wild that you can choose which currency you want them to be. They could be either a coin, a prowess, or a magic symbol for you. Also, every time you draw a heroism card, you draw an additional card. So that's very, very helpful. So you draw these cards, you add them to your discard pile, and then you take that monster and you put him on the bottom of the monster deck right there. Okay, so there was that. Now, I did use melee again in this battle, so I will gain a wound. Add it to my discard pile. Now, I'm going to use these 2 prowess here. I got to return this mic card to grab a coin. And I'm going to use this coin to pay in order to heal myself from this burn card and return it to its stack. Because again, that burn card, if I keep on drawing it, is going to make me keep on adding wounds to my deck. Okay, so we are done with that turn right there. And now we move on to my second turn this round. And I'll draw 5 more cards. Okie dokie. And then we will clear this up right here. Oh, wait. I didn't have to use that mic card, folks. I'm going to return this mic card to my discard pile. I had this farmer here, which I could have used for 1 additional prowess. I keep on forgetting that. Okay, here we go. So these are my 5 cards for this hand. Let's refresh the town square here. We've got the robber here, which says cards with a coin cost require an extra 2 coins to buy this round. Oof. But a hero can discard an attack card to put the robber back on the bottom of the traveler deck. So let's see if I have an attack card. So first of all, let's add these 2 cards here. Okay. Do I have an attack card? I do not, but I do have this Holy Aura here, which I might just keep her around. I have this wound. I'm going to use this 1 prowess. So I'm going to pay this 1 prowess in order to keep Holy Aura with me going into next round. Because again, it says that I can pay 1 prowess to keep this card in play during cleanup. And I got 2 prowess left, which I will use to grab myself a coin. And that's it. And we're done with that. And this is pretty much what the game looks like, guys. I know it kind of feels like just the first early stages of the game. But basically, you're fighting these monsters. The power will start increasing as more of these monsters escape, and there'll be more of these symbols. So soon enough, this can become very overwhelming. Also, believe it or not, as you're strengthening your deck, you cannot strengthen it too much because quite often you're incurring these wounds that kind of slow you down to some extent. But if you're ever lucky enough to build 8 of these walls, or to use these seals in order to seal the Shadowrift, which again, in the case of a solo player game, there's 2 Shadowrifts out there, you win the game. But as the game progresses, these monsters are going to be killing your villagers, replacing them with corpse cards, and this town deck will be thinning out. So you got to find that balance of, yes, getting the cards that you need in order to defeat the monsters, but also buying the walls, buying some villagers, adding them to your deck to decrease the chances of you losing. Because again, if after the monster attack phase, these 5 cards don't have at least 1 regular villager and 1 wall, you have lost the game. And that's it for Shadowrift, and that's it for this playthrough, guys. Thank you so much for joining us here when Harry Met Board Games. Take care, everybody. Stay safe, stay healthy, and have fun gaming. Bye-bye.